Hey folks, welcome back to Oracle Seasons. Still not used to introducing it. Anyway, we're about to go see the Maku tree now that we have our fancy new wooden sword. And it is still fall. I'm not sure if seasons reset when you reset the game, I don't know. Anyway, here's the Maku tree with the anime bubble thing. Anyway, both the Oracle of Seasons and Ages has a Maku tree, a different Maku tree. This one is lazy and sleeps a lot, and is also weakened. The other one is a little more creepy stalker thing. And when you're being stalked by a tree, it's a little weird, but I'll get to that when I play the game. Anyway, he explains, hey, the seasons are all screwed up, in case you didn't realize yet. And you're gonna have to go to the Northern Peak once you find the 8 dungeons and beat them and blah blah blah. It's standard Zelda fare. Collect things so you can go and beat the final dungeon. No. So he gives you a little key thing, which lets you access the first dungeon, hooray. I really do like the music in this game. Even the recycled stuff. They chose the perfect tracks to recycle. Anyway, up here. And people who have played the original Zelda, which I assume is most of you, at least briefly, will recognize that this is a very, very similar pattern to how to get to the first dungeon in that game. Right down to the shape of the dungeon being a giant gnarled root. And this game has a lot of things taken from the original Legend of Zelda, and that's because originally the company making this game was trying to remake the original Zelda for the Game Boy Color using the Link's Awakening DX engine. Things fell through, but a couple of things remained and was implemented into this game. This game more than Ages, for some reason. So that's why a couple of locations, most of the bosses, and a few of the puzzles are essentially ripped straight from the original game. These things, jerks. Charge strikes, they won't split up. Regular strikes, they'll split into 2, which will grab onto you and slow you down, and will prevent you from using your sword. Which is irritating, and I don't really want to demo it. You can't push that until both these boomerang dudes are done. And for these guys, I recommend tempting them and then dashing through. Here's a little pushing puzzle, which I'm probably going to screw up somehow. Oh no, I didn't. Wow. This is a gaseous seed. We'll learn more about them a little bit later. Basically, you plant them in designated spots, and they will grow things. Like rings and rupees, and I think there's one heart piece. Flash that to switch the tracks. Doesn't really make sense, but it works. Kill the keys on your way. You can see there's a chest up there, actually. I'm pretty sure it's just rupees, because considering I completely forgot about it, shouldn't be too necessary. Over here, this is why I wasn't really worried about buying bombs. You get 10 bombs, completely free of charge. Speedrunners buy them in advance so they don't have to backtrack and do that, or something, I don't know. Here's key. These guys are kind of annoying until you realize they're stuck moving and moving a lot slower. So, really, they're not as threatening as those slidey, I don't even know what to call them. The bladed things. Like these guys. You know what they are. So really, you can wait for them to go past, or you can go while they're coming back. Doesn't really matter. They aren't too critical. Wear them out like that. This guy's kind of a jerk move there. He doesn't go all the way, though, which is nice. Fairy there, in case you suffered a couple hits. And there's a locked door. Here's our mini-boss. This is a short dungeon, after all. They toss the boomerang from back in... They didn't even let me explain. Yeah, they toss the boomerang between each other, but if you just spam the sword like I did, you won't have any problems. Might take a couple hits, but they release a fairy, as do all mini-bosses. So yeah, you might recognize that last puzzle directly from the original Zelda, along with this kind of side-scrolling thing to pick up an item. It was a different item in the original game, I don't remember what. Don't even bother telling me. It's the first dungeon, for God's sake. Then push this guy down. Really, this is overall a very simple dungeon. Things don't really get challenging, I think, until like level 4 or so. So now that we have the Ember Seeds, we can take that warp, which warps you to a designated place in the dungeon. Usually, it's the first room, but here they changed it for some reason. And I really need to get in the habit of switching to A rather than replace my sword. So hey, let's kill more moblins. The thing about Seasons and Ages is that Seasons was designated to be more action-typed, more than puzzles, whereas Ages are more about puzzles. So you're going to see a lot more kill-all-enemies kind of things in Seasons. And I had no idea that fairy was there, I was just wishfully thinking. So anyway, now that we have the boss key, we can move along, mosey on down to the first room we entered, actually. You'll probably remember, actually probably not, but there were indeed little torches here, which you light up there. And here, this is the actually somewhat genuinely annoying room, because there's floor masters, wall masters, I don't remember which is which. One warps you to the beginning of the dungeon, and it's this one. Here's a ring, which is sort of... They're equip items, basically, but they're pretty useless most of the time. There's a couple good ones, but a lot of them are totally pointless. There's one that lets you walk over floors that would normally crumble beneath your weight and drop you into abysses. I like using that one. And then there's really pointless ones that transform you into little characters that can't actually attack or anything. But that's a story for another time, because we've got our first boss. Straight from Zelda 1, it's the dragon thing. I don't even remember. They never actually tell you his name in the game, or anything. There's our container. Wow, I took a lot of damage. You know how I said this would be a gimmick-free thing? I lied. 3-heart challenge. So here's our first Essence of Nature. There are 8 of them. They're basically like the Triforce pieces in the original game. And the medallions in Ocarina of Time, and the maidens in Link to the Past, and all the other things you collect. So after every dungeon, the Maku tree will contact you and it'll be like, hey, it helped. So when you return to him, after collecting each essence, you will feel better. He'll feel better, he'll mostly have grown bigger. Either wider or taller. Which, again, doesn't come into play until later in the game. This is Maple the Witch. You hit her, stuff falls out, rupees, hearts, sometimes a heart container, sometimes gaseous seeds, sometimes rings. And she is part of a trade quest a little later on. Wow, I lost a lot of seeds, jeez. But hopefully it'll be winter when I get back into the village. Haha, I am psychic. So the gimmick about seeds is that there's several various types of seeds, and they each grow in different seasons. Except there's two that overlap since there's 4 seasons and 5 types of seeds. But ember seeds grow in winter for some reason. And before I forget, over here we have a secret passage. He will either charge you money or give you money. I don't know what causes it, but I much prefer getting money. Over here, we start a trade quest. Gives you a cuckoo dex, which is also immediately solvable, but I won't have time this segment. I'll do it next segment, don't worry. And last thing, cross the ice here, you can only do this in winter. 20 rupees, not bad. So I suppose that wraps this up. I will see you guys next time for the next portion of the trade quest, and moving on to the next path to the second dungeon. See you then.